Hi everybody, I'm Grace Kelly
And I'm Stef Cybichowski.
and we are delighted to come to you today with a special taste of our brand new course, Virtual Marketing, drawing clients to you without the hustle. So in this particular video, we really want to give you a taste of what this new course is all about. And we really want to give you a feel for us because we will be hosting this course across 6 weeks. So Steph, lovely to see you here.
Lovely to see you too, Grace.
I'm really pleased that we're going to bring this course to the world as a duo and as a team. But I'm also aware that some people perhaps don't know much about who we are or what this course, Virtual Marketing, is all about. So would you like to open up, Steph, and just share a bit about your background and what you've experienced around perhaps virtual marketing?
Okay. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a ride for me. I've spent the last, I suppose, 30 odd years in corporate business, and after the corporate lifetime, I had about 20 years with my own design business, and over the last 5 or 6 years, I have transitioned to becoming a coach, a speaker, and a facilitator. And I deal with businesses, I deal with mental health professionals, I deal with in schools, I also deal with one-to-one clients. And my journey has been interesting, to say the least. I guess for most of my corporate and my design business life, even though I was relatively successful, I had to work really, really, really hard at it. It felt like some weeks and some months were like trying to swim against a really, really choppy sea. And I'd get to the weekend and I'd sort of breathe, and then Sunday night would come and I would get really nervous because I knew that I'd have to get in the sea again and have to swim really hard against the tide. The reason for that, I see now, was that I was trying to run a business from a place of insecurity, from a place of fear. And I always, at the back of my mind, had the thought that I wasn't good enough. I always had, or in that moment, I would make some mistake, or in that moment, I would be embarrassed, or in that moment, the person in front of me, or the group in front of me, would think bad of me. So what happened was I approached my business from that place of insecurity and fear, which made life really difficult. It made life seem to be impossible at times. I would get very stressed, very anxious, and very nervous. And that is how my communications came out. That's how my proposals looked. That's how my conversations were. I came from a place of that kind of fear and worry that I wasn't good enough. And I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, I came across an understanding about the mind, which completely transformed not only my business, but it completely transformed how I show up in the world. It completely transformed my relationships. It completely transformed my creativity and my productivity. And that understanding showed me that my insecure thinking, my fear of getting it wrong, was made up. It wasn't actually real. And as soon as I saw that, everything changed. Everything in my life changed. So from that moment onwards, I found relationships so much easier. I found talking to people about what I had to offer so easy. I got in a place of really being interested in them and really being in a place of service to them, rather than it being about me and me having to create a business and having to create an income, because that was the only thing that I could see. As soon as I began to get out of my way, I had a completely different relationship with people and a completely different relationship with my business. I went from being in a place of insecurity and fear to a place of fun, to a place of curiosity, to a place of playing in life. And nowadays I get to share this stuff with so many different kinds of people in so many different parts of the world. I have to kind of pinch myself sometimes to help me realize that I am actually working. This just doesn't feel like work. It's such a blessing to be able to understand how the mind works.
Yeah.
And actually what we have on the table for us, what we have, what we're capable of when we get out of our own way.
And that's really what this course is pointing to, you know, the reason that we're coming forth with spiritual marketing. You know, we're pointing to helping you get out of the way and tapping into that inner wisdom that really is so much more helpful than insecurity in order to operate in your marketing, in your business, in your selling, in your coaching, in general. So I love what you're sharing, Steph, because I think for so many people that are going to engage with this course, a huge transformation on offer is, as you have experienced and described, you know, getting beyond the insecurity into actually having fun and having a joyful experience with their business. Super cool.
How about you, Grace? How about you? How did you get here?
Well, I got into really, like, at the beginning, I left my job and I sort of knew that I didn't want to be in 9 to 5 anymore, but I had no idea what I was going to do next. And fast forward a couple of years, and I find myself in the coaching world, and I find myself doing quite well quite quickly. But at some point on that journey, I was filling my mind with a lot of how-to when it came to marketing and growing the business. So I got into all sorts of information accumulation. And I really believed at the time there was a correct way to do it. Everybody out there that I could see was, anybody that was an expert that I was watching was promoting and shouting about, you have to do it this way, and there's this formula, and you have to do this many modules, and in order to get clients and grow your business, you have to X, Y, and Z. So I fell into following some other people's ideas for a while. And that was a real disservice to me, because it took away from the enjoyment and the freshness of the marketing in the moment. And instead it became very heady and very formulaic. And it sort of lacked grace, is how I would describe it, Steph. You know, it lacked me. And I probably sounded like everybody else. I probably came across like everybody else. But ultimately, I got really tired, and I got a wake-up call, because the fun and the enjoyment was gone. And I remember the wake-up call very distinctly when I was given this incredible opportunity to potentially take my business to a 7-figure level. And I woke up in a hotel one morning, and every part of my being screamed no, that this wasn't the next step. And it was really tough to follow that wisdom at the time, because it was scary. I felt that I was in a world where my success, which had been quite rapid and quite significant for someone starting out, was dependent on learning these techniques and following these formulas and following other people's wisdom. So I followed my own wisdom, and I took myself away from that prescribed way of doing things. And over time, I just began to see that as I came more and more home in myself, as you described, Steph, not lost in the insecurity, because I think, similar to you, that was my experience. I was learning all of these how-tos and following everybody else out there because I truly felt insecure, and I felt like they knew better. But as I came away from that, and I started coming more home in self and listening to that inner wisdom more and letting that guide my decisions on my business, I found a whole new world opened up, where there was just a beautiful way of experiencing flow with having so much less effort and less on it, if that makes sense. And I mean, that's a really big part of what I believe this course is going to reconnect people to, is that it's that flow, it's that possibility of really being you and sharing your alignment, sharing your connection, sharing your wisdom with the world, and letting that do the hard selling for you. So, you know, there's something about when you've been on a journey of accumulating information or mastering the latest techniques or investing again and again in the hope of something working out, that there comes a time where, you know, you just have to check in with yourself and see if that is still useful, if that is still helpful. And the way it occurred for me was just knowing how tired I was, just noticing how trying to keep up, I was constantly on that treadmill. So I'm excited about this course because it's a whole other way of doing it. Do you agree, Steph?
Absolutely. It's a different way of showing up in the world, and when we show up differently in the world from this place of wisdom and from trust and from this place of play, people respond to that so much more than they do from the technique way. I found when I would be talking to people, when I would be, I don't know, writing a proposal, I felt that they had to be just one way to do it, and it would be the latest technique that I'd taken from the latest guru, and I had that in my head all the time. So it must have felt to the person I was talking to, or to the audience I was talking to, that I was trying to push them down a certain route, which wasn't in alignment with me or my service. It was somebody else's idea of what I should do, and people feel that. I kind of think back now, I think it's like a car salesman wanting you to buy a certain car that you're not quite sure about, but you kind of feel a little bit anxious because you realize that they're trying to push you down a certain route. That's how I think my clients felt about me. So once I recognized that, once I could see that I wasn't working from my wisdom, I wasn't being comfortable in myself, that then allowed me to play. It allowed me to be less bothered about what people thought about me, and be more interested in them and listen much more deeply to what they wanted. And when that happened, everything changed. And that's why, to me, it feels like a lot less effort, because we're actually doing what we're designed to do. We're connecting with people without an agenda. Mm-hmm. All we're doing is connecting with people in a way which comes from wisdom, which comes from that natural, intuitive connection that we have with people. And we can do anything. We can be vulnerable, we can be creative, we can do all of the spectrum of connection, instead of just being down this very thin slice, which is not us anyway. Mm-hmm. When we're not scared, we can really connect with people. And I had a boss once, a long time ago, who told me that a really, really important thing. He said to me, people buy from people. Mm-hmm. It's not always the service. It's not always the price. People, when they really, truly connect with somebody, decision is made.
And that is the essence of spiritual marketing. For those of you that are wondering, well, what is this? What exactly is this course about? I mean, Steph has just described it beautifully right there. People buy from people. There is definitely the connection factor, the likability factor, and of course the service factor. But that is the essence. This is what the course is really delving deep on. It's bringing you, the person, back home and center in alignment with what you've got, and letting you show up in the world with less you involved and more connection to those that need you. Now, there are some ways that I see people trip themselves up, and having worked with corporates who wanted to set up their own businesses, to coaches who wanted to do better in their business, and a whole range of other people, the things that get in the way of people showing up, being present, and letting their spiritual marketing do the selling for them are the same. People, as I see it, people, they worry about how they're coming across. They get ideas, but they don't act on them because they're worried about getting it right. They're concerned with being perfect. They're worried about being salesy. They take too long to get their wisdom from the formless into form and into the idea phase where they're actually implementing. Simply because of those insecurities that innocently they keep falling for. So this course is here, especially for those of you that have lost your way and you've been too busy trying to figure out, you know, how to market your services, how to sell what you've got, wondering what you've got, what makes you different, what makes you unique. Those of you that have just been taking too long to act on your wisdom and get your ideas going. And those of you that have lost touch with that essence of what works for you and perhaps ended up trying to follow everybody else's way, perhaps a formulaic way, perhaps a prescribed way, or even for those of you that maybe you've been sitting on the couch for months because you're just stuck, you're in the overwhelm, or you're in that stuck place where it's just, you know, it's going to take, it feels like it's going to take a dynamite to get you moving. Well, we are going to show you how easy and how much more fun your business can be and growing your business can be from this place of connection and deep feeling. As Steph just described, you know, there's nothing more powerful than showing up with very little on your mind, but the person and the people or the idea in front of you. Would you agree, Steph? Is there something else that you'd like to add in there that perhaps I haven't mentioned for those that are considering joining us?
Yeah, I guess probably one of the other areas that we're going to be touching on is I used to be, I always used to have to do so much preparation before having a pitch with a client, or I used to have to do so much preparation in order to send a proposal or put something on the website. And because I was constantly trying to work out what the client needed. So I would try and match my idea of what I had to offer with what they wanted. And what I've noticed over the last few years is that when I show up with that kind of preparation, which is based on my idea of what people want rather than what they want, I completely block my own intuition. I block my own wisdom in the moment. Okay, so what I've found is that if I show up without that agenda, I might do some preparation, but when I'm actually in front of somebody or when I'm writing something, I can let go of what I've learnt and just be in the moment. Then what wisdom does naturally, we don't have to look for it. When we are free of that agenda in our head, then in the moment, life comes to us in the form of wisdom, and it gives us what we need. And it gives us what we need in order to connect to the client. So if the client needs a problem solved and I don't know about it beforehand, I'm going to go down a particular route that's trying to sell him a particular service, and I don't know that he wants a problem solved. If I am in the moment and I am open and I'm listening and attentive to the client, then the problem that he needs solving will become evident to me how I can solve it. Now, the reason that people buy from people, and I have been in sales for a long time, and over the last 5 years, I have seen that People buy from people who are absolutely clear that they can help you. It's not a case of, oh yeah, it's possible that I could help you, or yeah, that's a problem I've seen before, I'm sure we can have a go at it. It's a case of the certainty with which we show up in that moment with the client. That is what convinces people to want to connect, to want to work with us, to want to keep working with us as opposed to somebody else. It's the certainty, and it's our openness to the moment to be able to articulate what we have to offer, articulate what we see and how we can help the client. We can't do that beforehand. We can't prepare for that.
Yeah, so true. So true. And you know, it strikes me as one of the big benefits of this particular course, Steph, you know, is helping you all become more confident and more certain with what you've got. You know, one of the questions I get asked a lot, Steph, is, you know, how do I market or sell what I have when it's so intangible, when it's not something strategy based or with a particular outcome? And so for those of you that are concerned about that, you know, this is what we're pointing to during these 6 weeks. You know, it's going to awaken your confidence and your certainty the more and more, rather the less and less you've got grip on it and you've got an agenda with where you're headed. And whilst traditional marketing focuses on having the right words, the right website, you know, showing up in a certain way, spiritual marketing runs deeper than that. We're not saying that you shouldn't have those things. In fact, there are quite a few practical elements to this course where Steph and I will share with you what we see as really helpful traditional methods that support you growing your business. But spiritual marketing is what does the selling. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you can have the best website. I've had some of the best websites endorsed by Forbes magazine, great photo shoots, great marketing tactics, everything. And there have been times that it didn't do anything, you know, and that's where this question started to arise, you know, what is it that really draws people in? Because it's not your perfectionism and it's not your brilliant, beautiful websites and perfectly articulated messages. But a level of clarity and confidence will always appeal. So during the 6 weeks of this course, Steph, I think we can agree that that level of certainty is what people will be walking away with.
Yeah.
That level, that renewed and higher level of access to their own wisdom as opposed to other people's ideas and formulas.
Yeah. And that sense of certainty and that sense of renewed confidence in our own way of doing things, in listening to our own wisdom, that feeds into engagement, that feeds into us loving our business, that feeds into us getting up in the morning and not being able to wait until we can talk to people or get to the keyboard or get that idea that we've had during the night. There's a passion to it. There's a passion to this business that I've never had in 30 odd years of any other business that I've done, because I have a different relationship to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I have seen for myself, as you have, Grace, that once we come from this place of our true selves, our authentic selves that are aligned with being in service with people and confidence in sharing what we have to share, it brings our business alive. That's how it feels to me. It feels like a living thing. Every day feels like an adventure in life. And that comes across to your clients, you know, that comes across to your clients.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful point. You know, I mean, a big part of this, I think it's in week 3, Steph, and we will actually run you all through each week if you'd like to have a listen in on what we're exploring more deeply. But I think it's in week 3 that we're going to go deep on awakening potential and creativity. Because as Steph just described, you know, it's that aliveness, it's that feeling of freshness that is huge. And I know for me, Steph, that is one of the reasons that I left my day job and started my own business and have kept diligently growing it, because there is nothing worse than feeling exhausted, shut down, tired, and flat. But I know a lot of people who have their own business and are feeling that way right now. You know, they're not feeling that aliveness. And so one of the areas that we really want to help you with during this course is bringing back that passion and awakening that potential and deepening that relationship to creativity. Because that's, I imagine, like us, that's not only a vitality for your business, but that's a vitality for you, your energy levels, your life, your experience of being here. And, you know, there's a whole week that we actually go deeper on that one. It might be a good time in our exploration just to run people through the course. So maybe we can just take a week at a time, Steph. Would you like to, what I will say to people is, if you're curious, if you're wanting to know more at this stage, you can go on over to our sales page on www.gracefulcoaching.net/spiritual-marketing/, or you can click on the link below in this particular video email. But right now we'll talk you through just what's happening week by week. Just give a brief intro here so that you can actually understand more deeply the curriculum and what we have. So, Steph, I have it in front of me. Do you?
I do.
Cool. Well, I'll start with week 1 because this is the one that I'm very passionate about people engaging straight away. And so week 1 is all about getting back in touch with self with a capital S. So in this particular week, you're going to get the grounding required to begin to operate from wisdom and from you rather than other people. So in this particular week, you're going to learn to recognize when your wisdom is calling you versus when your insecurities are talking. That alone is huge. I mean, if you can really just begin to get a sense of that in your business, it will drive everything in a whole new direction in an easier way. So many mistakes are made when people are operating from insecurity, creating programs from insecurity, doing their marketing and their selling from insecurity. So this is the week that you're really going to come back to center and create breathing space so that you are really coming into the world from that place of wisdom. You'll also discover what your wisdom is asking you to do next. Okay, so what I mean by that is during these 6 weeks, we reckon you're going to launch an idea or you're going to act on what your wisdom has already been bringing you. So if you're sitting right now on the couch and you've got ideas but you're not acting on them, or you would like to be doing something, accomplishing something in your business, in week 1, we're going to delve into what that particular direction is for you. And you are welcome and you're invited during these 6 weeks to bring that into the world. You're invited to use this course to launch something, birth something, act on whatever it is your wisdom is bringing you. So that's week 1. Steph, you want to introduce us to week 2?
Okay. So week 2, we're going to be looking at overcoming perfectionism, logistics and what people will think of you. We need to overcome that, our idea of that. So it was the same with me, but I think it's the same with everybody, is when we begin to launch the ideas or share more of ourselves, we automatically come up against our own insecurities. In my case, I'm not good enough, and what if I can't pull this off? What if the idea is too big for me to be able to bring to the world? So what tends to happen is we can either shut those ideas off, we can strangle the idea, or we can put it off, we can procrastinate, or we can actually pile forward with it and just kind of bash our way through. But we're having this constant fear and insecurity in our head at the time. So what we are aiming to talk about in the second week is discovering the tool that we can use to stop us from being continuously stuck in that, is it good enough? Is it good enough? Is it good enough? Am I good enough? To actually seeing that aspect of ourselves is what is stopping us from realizing how good we actually are and how beautiful the service we have, the project we have, the information we have to share with people is. And so I often think that if people weren't scared of what they thought other people were thinking, it would be a completely different game. It would be a completely different connection with people. And so we have a way of being able to show you what that tool is. We have a way of being able to explain to you how you can just not pay attention to those insecurities, how you can kind of disregard those feelings of insecurity and be completely 100% present, 100% connected and passionate about what you're doing in the moment, which is what makes all the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
So week 3, Grace.
I'm excited for these weeks. These are all good to go deep on. So week 3 is all about engagement versus effort. This was huge for me because I was one of these people that was sort of like on a pendulum swing of sometimes on my business, sometimes off. So, we're going to really put an end to that cycle, helping you put an end to that on-off cycle that you might be experiencing and helping you awaken a deeper, easier consistency, okay? So, you may have noticed that more time and more effort spent on your business does not equal greater results. That's really what we're going to go deep on this week, is showing you really where results come from and how they are generated and why you don't have to spend another minute fixing your mindset, fixing your money story, fixing your psychology. This is the week that really will help you awaken productivity, efficiency, and you'll get into, acting on your ideas. You'll also discover why your mood has no relationship to getting stuff done. So, lots of people that I work with, they when they show up, they want to get going with something, but they don't have the energy, or they're not in the mood, or they're constantly at the mercy of how they feel. So really this week is exploring, you know, what motivates us to high levels of activity and productivity, because it's not willpower, and it is not saying mantras and affirmations over and over again. And it certainly isn't pushing yourself into action. So this is a very important week midway through, where you're going to really get into engagement and develop a level of consistency with that you didn't even know you had. Week 4, Steph.
Perfect. Right. Week 4 is all about awakening deeper potential and creativity. And I think it's fair to say I honestly had no idea what I was capable of before I began to learn about this understanding. So we have an idea of what we think we're capable of based on what we've done before, what our experience has been, what we've learned in the past. And that is true to a certain extent, but what we don't realize is that we have this completely incredible, unimaginable connection to wisdom, which goes way beyond what we already know. So in some of the classes that I teach with businesses, I tell them, you know, performance equals potential, the best we can possibly be, minus interference. And the conversations are all about interference as thought. When we get a sense of how much we are interfering with our own creative potential, with our feelings of lack, insecurity, fear, unworthiness, when we recognize those and we can see them for what they are and pay less attention to them, we have this incredible process of wisdom and ideas and creativity that bubbles up through us. Insights bubble up through us all the time. And we don't have to rely on what we already know. This inspiration comes through with completely new, fresh ideas about how to talk to people, how to articulate what we do, who to talk to in a particular moment. And it can be completely innovative. It can be like nothing anybody's ever done or seen of before. And that is what we're all capable of. That is what we have happening all the time. But we don't hear it because we have all this interference going on in our heads. So what we aim to do in week 4 is to give you a grounding in how this happens, and we'll show you examples of how it works, and you can see for yourself how you've already had that kind of wisdom and intuition and fresh ideas coming through that maybe you haven't appreciated where it comes from.
Yeah. So then in week 5, you know, by this stage in the course, we would be expecting you all to already be experiencing your business in a different way. So this is the week that, you know, we're actually going to delve deep on practical and graceful ways to support you in showing up in the world. This week is all about drawing clients to you without the hustle. Now, yes, that's harnessing your magic, what we're calling your spiritual marketing, but it is also in doing the practical activities that will support you in experiencing a less erratic result in your business. So this week you're going to gracefully go from struggle and hustle energy, I call it, to calling your people in. We're going to focus on helping you denormalize doubting yourself and undervaluing your services. So for those of you that are concerned about what to price at, or how to charge what you'd like, or how to receive at a level, perhaps a new level in your business financially, this will be a really, really important week for you. You know, you'll also get myself and Steph's ideas for just standing out. You know, sometimes you might feel that there's a lot of people doing something similar to you. So this is the week that we actually begin to look at, you know, the uniqueness of you and why that does a lot of the heavy selling for you. So it'll be a particularly practical week as you begin to harness this incredible magic that you have within you, and you begin to use the beauty of spiritual marketing in the world. And then we come to our final week, Steph.
Yes, bringing it all together. So in the final week, it's going to be an open office. It's going to be a week where you can ask us anything about what we've talked about on the previous 5 weeks. You can ask us anything about where you are in your journey, and we will be available to point out a direction maybe that will be completely transformative for you and your business. And you have the option. You have the option to be able to discuss what you've already experienced. You can ask us about any blind spots that you might have, and we'll be completely open, and we will have some really good ways of being able to point you in the direction of where you want to go, where you need to go.
Yeah, cool. So here's a couple of extra things that you might not know about the course. You know, firstly, if you're loving the idea of this course and you know that this is for you, and you're completely done with trying to make your business work or trying to get your next client, you can go on over to gracefulcoaching.net/spiritual-marketing/ and you can have a look there at the page and go ahead and sign up for the course. What you might like to know is that our course starting date is estimated for July 5th. So the course start date will be Thursday, July 5th, and it will run for 6 consecutive Thursdays. So Thursday is your time for engaging with Steph and I. And the format of each week will include opportunity for you to ask us your questions. You know, Steph and I will certainly set the table with the particular subject of the week and share what we are seeing and what we believe will help you. But then we'll open up to the floor and let you, of course, come in and get some really good coaching on your specific situation. So Thursday, July 5th, 5 p.m. UK, which I believe is 12 New York and 8 a.m. Los Angeles. And inclusive in this course, not only will you get the 6 live coaching calls and recordings each week from us. So if you can't make the live call, there's a recording available for you. But you'll also get some juicy bonuses. We actually have a bonus interview with the founder of the 3 Principles Institute and one of our favorite people, the queen of spiritual marketing herself, Elsie Spittle. So Elsie will be a bonus interview that you receive directly when you sign up for the course. And you also will receive as another juicy, sorry, that's my dog. Steph, I'll let you.
Sorry, you've muted yourself, Grace.
Here we go.
I didn't catch that last
week. My gardener's just arrived, so he's going nuts.
All right, okay. Yeah.
I'll let you just describe for a moment, Steph, if you wouldn't mind, also just the other bonus interviews that are available, if you can see it on the page there. Oh, in fact, you know what? We're good my side. I'll go ahead. We're good my side.
Yeah.
So the other bonus interviews that you get when you sign up to this course is a bonus video series on how they got started. And these are stories from successful entrepreneurs on starting out and bringing their ideas to life. So through those 3 bonus interviews, you're going to really get a sense for how spiritual marketing works, not just for us, but for everybody who has ever created anything significant in the world. So those are the 3 interviews that will come with the course. Right now we have an early bird special on. So if you go to the sales page where you can sign up for the course, you can avail of the current price tag. We're estimating that the price will double. So we encourage you that if this is speaking to you now, do yourself a favor and follow wisdom now as opposed to later, and let yourself get in on the early bird special, and we will be delighted to come to you live on July 5th. Anything else, Steph, before we close up here?
I just want to say I am so excited to have the opportunity to be able to share what we've found to be true about spiritual marketing, how we've seen people blossom and have their businesses and lives change. It really is about being able to see your own creativity and your own potential and what's available to us once we see who we truly are, once we can get out from under ourselves. And the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. You can have a business that you are proud of, that you are passionate about, that you're excited about, and that seems to be taking so little effort compared to how we've done it before. It seems too good to be true. But we meet people, we see people, we coach people every day that are experiencing this and are being very successful. So it's so exciting to have the opportunity to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I second that. This is going to be the one that really allows you all to have a much more graceful, easier time with what you're doing. And Steph and I will be delighted to support you and coach you through these 6 weeks. So before we close off, I'll just remind you that the sales page is www.gracefulcoaching.net. I'm still getting used to my new website. www.gracefulcoaching.net/spiritual-marketing/. And of course, you can always drop us a line and we will send you the link to the page if you have any issue accessing it. In the meantime, it's been lovely to come to you all live here with a taste of spiritual marketing, and we look forward to welcoming you on our course. Ciao for now.
Bless you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.